On a lighter note, let's switch into the entertainment scene. There was an explosion noticed by people living in Toronto, and apparently we found out that it was Drake that set it off. He's obviously shooting a video for his upcoming album release. Some say it's going to be called Iceman. I mean, he also has been promoting the term Iceman, although we do not really know the actual name of the album. How excited are you for Iceman? What do you think the music is going to sound like? Is this Drake's most anticipated album? And yeah, let's get into it.
Honestly, I'm not super excited about Iceman. You know,
Oh my God.
I was on the Kendrick side
Uh,
of the of the beef. I was a Drake fan from inception, so I'm not against listening to a Drake album. I'm talking about Iceman. So your album is supposed to be Iceman, then you cause a big bomb causing fire in the city of Toronto. So that's not really
the
icy,
Iceman
but
person, the Iceman is like it's a cool persona. It's not really talking about being
yeah.
ice. Oh my God,
Yeah,
bro.
but it's sort of
So
contradicting
what are we
himself.
gonna do? Drake is never gonna. It should not.
We don't want to see fire, man. We just want to see ice, you know. Maybe cause
What
an
next?
ice
Drake
storm in the
should
city
not
of
microwave his
Toronto.
food
He
because
probably
he's
should.
Iceman.
Yeah, so well, on a serious note though, I think Drake is one of the best ever to do this, you know. So I can expect the album to be a very good album because I expect him to be putting his all to meet some certain standards. Because if this album doesn't perform, a lot of people will have something to say. There could be talk about him being finished due to the beef. So I
Oh,
expect him to do
people will say that regardless. I'm just gonna cut you off.
exactly.
Like, even
Yeah.
if it's the
So
best album Drake puts out, people are gonna say it's finished and it's the worst thing ever. So,
yeah, but you know, if you let your music speak for you, whatever people say wouldn't really matter. And Drake is someone that anything he drops has the potential to top the charts, do serious number due to his fan base. So to be honest, I'm not looking forward to it, but I definitely will have that added to my playlist to listen to it. So what about you though? Are you excited about the album?
okay, I'm gonna answer that question in two ways. Personally,
Okay.
I'm a huge Drake fan, so I'm always excited to get music from Drake, especially coming off the last 2 years. There are a lot of revisionism on Drake's career, and people trying to say he has never been able to make decent music. I think he has a lot to get off his chest, and I think he's gonna pour a lot of emotions into this upcoming album. And we know an emotional Aubrey always makes great albums. So me
True.
personally, I'm excited for the Drake album, but I think the rap game needs Drake's album to be exciting, right? I think what happened with the Kendrick and Drake beef, he politicized hip hop in a way that I know I
I
was around
agree. Yeah.
for the hip, I was around for the Jay-Z and Nas beef, for the JR and 50 beef. It's okay to pick sides, right? But what we never did as a whole in hip hop was try to ostracize one side because of the other, right? It never got to the stage where we had corporations and the entire some spokespersons in the culture try to ostracize Jay-Z because they were trying to promote Nas, or they were trying to ostracize Nas because they were trying to promote Jay-Z. But I think what we saw over the past 2 years is it played into UMG's, I think Drake's label's contract negotiation tactics, and them pitting trying to undervalue Drake by blowing up Kendrick's importance. So I think with a lot of social engineering on the aspect of the big corporations, I think some of the fans got caught up into that and they drank the Kool-Aid from the corporations as well. And some of them tried to get to a point where if you like Drake music, then you were morally bankrupt. Or if you did not champion Kendrick Lamar, then you were not as solid or valid in the culture. I think all of that got into a situation where it killed the spirit of collaboration in hip hop. I think the last hip hop album, hip hop song to make it into the top 10 was Drake's What Did I Miss? And that was 9 months ago, right? I mean, Luther was already on the charts, but for the past 9 months, we've not had any hip hop song break into the top 10 of the Billboard. The collaborative spirit that Drake was promoting then always ensured that one of these songs were always bubbling in the charts. And also, when he tries to extend the same spirit, he gave J. Cole his first number one as well. So I think the game needs Iceman to bring up points and get people excited and talking about hip hop music again. He's probably going to have some bars for Kendrick. He's probably going to have some bars for people if he will turn their back on him. So I think the excitement is needed in hip hop right now. Even though the Clips and Tyler and J. Cole have dropped the fall off, they don't have what it takes as individuals to get the culture going. Either it's his haters trying to diminish his achievements, or is his stance trying to over exaggerate his importance. Whatever Drake does, it just creates a lot of buzz on social media. Personally, I'm super excited for the album, but as a whole, I think hip hop needs Drake to come and set the standard again, right? And I think everyone just needs to get over and move over from the beef finally and understand that it's okay to enjoy Kendrick and Drake music, right? Even if you prefer one over the other. I mean, it's not that deep. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited for Iceman. And I think 2 weeks ago he iced out a couple of seats at the Raptors home game.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
his
that. That
usual
was
seat.
cool
So
though.
he
That
has
was
been dropping
trippy.
subtle signs of the album promo. He's letting everybody know that he's gearing up to take over the summer. And we've had word from academics and more letting us know that after this album drops, it will be clear who is the top dog in the game. So definitely we know Drake is about to get into his theatric bags and, put on a show for the culture.
Okay, I think you dropped some good points. We can both agree. People saying Drake wasn't a top guy or made great music or he's not an exceptional artist. They're not being honest. I was on the Kendrick side of the beef, but I cannot disagree that Drake is one of the best to ever do it. The numbers don't lie. And then going back on one of the points you raised in terms of they should get over it. Kendrick already said they're never gonna get over it. So if I was Drake, I'll probably not even have any sub to digs at King Kendrick. Just drop your album, talk about
Excuse
ladies, talk
me?
about parties.
Excuse me?
And yeah, you,
Excuse
you got
me?
you have to get over it, man. Because if
No,
you
no, no,
don't,
no, 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 no,
then
no,
then
no,
you're
no, no.
validating Kendrick's point in terms of they'll never
No,
get over it.
that is Kendrick being super, super clever and trying to preempt Drake from clapping back. It doesn't work that way. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
we'll
If you
see.
if we're beefing, then to the day we
Yeah,
die, you're gonna get
it's
these
on.
bars. I'm sorry. Like,
It's on. Okay,
and when
okay.
Kendrick comes
Yeah,
back with his new album, he's allowed to get off his setting bars too at Aubrey. It is what it is. I understand your points where we say we don't have to make it like a focal point of the album, but please
yeah, yeah,
understand that
yeah.
Dot is going to get a couple of bars from Drake, and he deserves to get a couple of bars because you do not get to call me a pedophile, perform the song for 1 year around the world at the biggest stage in American music, and tell me to get over it. Excuse me? Oh, I will
Bro.
say
Okay,
something. I
okay.
will say
So
something, most
cool, cool.
definitely.
If he doesn't want to get over it, I guess that's his opinion. One thing I have to agree with you though is this beef has actually had a negative impact in the hip hop space. Not having hip hop songs topping the charts, that's a problem, man. So Kendrick came into the scene when the beef started in terms of I'm coming to save the culture. But has he really saved the culture? Because it kind of
Mm.
feels like the culture has been dying ever since this rap beef because people sort of politicize the beef instead of just enjoying it from a fan
Enjoying the
based
music.
point of
Exactly.
view. And as you said earlier, it's more or less if you like Kendrick, then you hate Drake. But you can love Kendrick and like Drake. You can love Drake and like Kendrick. You can enjoy both type of music without having to pick a side. Like I used to be a Drake fan, but I think he lost me after if you're reading this, it's too late then. Honestly, never mind. I really wasn't into that. But maybe I
Techno.
just prefer
Electric.
Kendrick, Maybe I'm just a Kendrick sort of guy and you're a Drake sort of guy. So, and it's fine. But it doesn't mean I can have a Drake album and enjoy it and you can have a Kendrick album and enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, we like music and we fell in love with these artists because of the kind of music they make. So, um,
And you're right. Skips, yo, we've been bumping Kendrick since Section 80. I remember back in your
yeah,
NYC days,
for
like, yo, we're
years.
listening to Paul Man's Drink, like, yo, I'm a dot stan, like,
Absolutely,
yo,
bro.
we're listening to
I
Section
we've been
80
listening to Drake since Babcock,
to
bro.
Drake as well.
Since
So, like,
Babcock.
the fact that I enjoy one's music over the other does not mean we didn't grow up with both these guys in our lives. Like,
Absolutely. We can
these
we
are
can
the top,
enjoy all of them.
exactly,
That's the
these are
fun.
top two artists of their generation. So, obviously, if you're a hip hop fan, obviously you have to enjoy music from both these dudes, which is why, to our point, during the beef, I understand that for a beat, everybody was trying to ride for whoever they were supporting, but especially
Yep,
the
yep.
corporations and the hip hop spokesperson, I think they took it a bit too far with the character assassination and trying to validate some of the, because Drake
But
and
but but
Kendrick.
that's business though. Business is business. UMG are trying to save a couple bucks, so they did what they could. So you can understand it from a business point of view. But
Wh-
I
Which,
do
which
agree
which is why
they
whenever
went
people
too far.
exactly, which is why whenever people say Drake sued because he lost the rap beef, I think people are just taking the
Nah,
context
he
out
sued
of it.
because business is business.
Business and exactly, and the
Yeah,
beef was starting to affect his business. Exactly, if he did not sue, it was going away from a rap beef into character assassination and
and affecting
damages
his bags.
to his business. So exactly, if he did, he had to sue, in my opinion, to stop that manipulation tactics that was going on with the label and the corporations. And sadly, the beef just had to be a collateral where he had to name Kendrick, and it's easy to say he's suing because he lost to Kendrick. Because you have to understand, this is not the first public lashing Aubrey has faced. He publicly lost, quote and unquote, to Pusha T. We didn't get any suing because there was no
Yep,
character
yep, true.
assassination going on by the label. It was just hip hop fans making fun of Drake. It's fine, which is what I like to tell people. Like, Drake is so immersed in the culture that he has taken L's publicly before where he didn't throw a tantrum. But what we saw in 2024 was not just a random beef. Yes, Kendrick and Drake were just going back and forth, but it was a bigger plot at play, which is why I think it killed the collaborative spirit in hip hop. It has affected the charts. And when hip hop does not make money, you see record label execs get fired. There's not enough money being put into development of artists. And we see it with the trickle down effect. There's no hip hop song popping. Usually we would have a big artist like Drake would jump on a newcomer's song and try to boost the newcomer. But in
And the
2020,
artist is blown.
it blown. But in 2024, we were told, I think moves like that was him being a colonizer. So he has stepped back and he doesn't do things like that. And Kendrick, he came to save the culture. But we all know Dot. Dot is this cool guy and he's just focused on his own music. He's not the kind of dude to give out assists to different people and have people popping. If you have him on your song, yes, he's gonna come deliver, do what he has to do. But he's not a kind of guy that, you know what, I'm the top dog. I'm gonna make sure everybody eats. Unlike Drake, who is okay, I'm a top dog. Here's a hook for you. Here's a verse for you. I'll jump on your song. I'll show the video for you. People say he was a culture vulture, but I think if you're the top dog, it's your responsibility to do things like that because you have to keep feeding the ecosystem, which is why I said I think hip hop as a whole needs Iceman to do well and Drake to get back into the collaborative bag with the newer generation, at least it seems.
Okay, okay. I think we can both agree on that. So let's see what Drake has to deliver in terms
Awesome.
of the Iceman. They do say when Drake announces something, the album is really about to drop. So just maybe we can have
Mm.
like a review, talk about the potential hits and see if he goes back into the chart in terms of the top 10.
Mhm.
Well, I guess it's fair to say now I'm sort of interested in seeing what Iceman has to offer because maybe Drake has never really failed. He probably hasn't delivered music to my taste or the standard of what I want to see, but his fans still love what he has to say. And I can
Mhm.
tell that you're obviously looking forward to this album. So, let's see. Maybe it drops next week, maybe it drops in 2 weeks, but
Mhm.
I'm going to keep my eye out on it and let's see what what certified lover boy has to say. Um, okay, I think that was a good conversation on Drake. Just before we wrap up, let's touch up on the Omah Lay album. Omah Lay
Mm.
dropped an album recently he called It Clarity of Mind. It's a 12-track album. I've always been a fan of Omah Lay because, he
Thanks.
drops music that has a way of touching your soul and making you feel like you're a part of it. I've had quite a listen to the album. To be honest, when I first listened to it, it didn't really catch me. I was more focused on the songs I already knew, like
Okay.
Don't Love Me, Your Waste, Holy Ghost. Surprisingly, put Holy Ghost on the
Holy Ghost on
album
the
again.
album. Exactly.
Yeah,
Get your
but
strings, my boy.
exactly. That feels like farming, man. But that's his choice. He can do whatever he wants to do. However, after like a week or two, I began to grow more in tune with the album. A couple tracks that got me was Amen. I think Amen is a very good track. Then the coping mechanism was the first one that I sort of tuned into. I've never heard the lady though, Elma. I think she's the new cat on the block. Should keep an eye out on her because she sounded really good on the
Oh,
coping
nice.
mechanism. And then I think the Water Spirit was also a bop. I Am was a bop. Yeah, so I think you should give it a listen. Have you had a listen though? Have you checked it out at all?
About Omah Lay, I think Omah Lay, it reminds me a little bit of Burna Boy with the way his career is going. Amongst his generation, he doesn't have the popular acclaim like that the likes of Asake or Rema have, but I think he's at that point where if we're comparing body of rock. I think he's up there. He has a way to connect with fans with his music. His lyrics are one of one. I think the COVID pandemic was kind of what was responsible for him not really blowing up after he dropped his first project because he was unable to tour around the country due to the lockdown. But that was another reason why he blew up because we were all at home and we were listening to his first project and he had
True. True.
some crazy bops on there. And I think he has gone on to keep dropping other projects that have really hit. I didn't get a chance to spin Clarity of Mind more than once. I was driving and I put it on. First thing I would say is that it's a really enjoyable listen. Like I didn't feel like I was struggling to enjoy any of the songs, and before I knew it, the album was done. So I think I need to listen to it a couple more times. But I would say my first play, it was a smooth listen. I'm like, okay, I think this is Omah Lay in his bag. I don't think he did anything too exceptional. I like the way song. I like the coping mechanism. That's one that really stood out to me on the first listen as well. So big ups to Malay. I think I see him now trying to get a little bit of personality. Some quotes out there where he's calling himself the greatest Afrobeat artist of the decade. I'm like, I like the confidence. I think it's about time we see a little bit of personality because I think that's what separates him from the Remas and the Ashakers. Talent-wise, I think he's up there, but I think he needs to show a little bit more personality that fans can put to the talent and say, okay, this is the Malay behavior and this is the Malay sound, and being able to tie it together. The way you could tie Wizkid's attitude to his music, same way you
Yeah.
could tie Davido's exuberance to his music or Burna Boy's attitude to his music. I think Malay needs to, show a little bit more personality, and I think he's just one big break away from actually getting all the plaudits and accolades that I think he actually deserves.
Yeah, I think I can agree with your point in terms of him building personality. And if there's one thing I've observed, it kind of feels like he's trying to build a personality of I'm not a lover boy anymore.
Mm.
I'm just out here to sleep with the ladies, have fun, go
He's a
party,
toxic
smoke
guy,
some
yeah.
weed. Yeah, talk exactly that toxic guy. So let's see how that transcends, and maybe that's the personality he wants to stick to. But going back to the album, I think I was really impressed. And from what you
Mm.
said, the first listen didn't really get me. Just felt like, okay, this is an Omah Lay album, Omah Lay doing his thing. But as I kept spinning and spinning,
Mm.
eventually I got to pick the tracks that I liked. So I'm gonna give you some time to, have further spins, and you can come back and let me know what tracks you like. But I do think Clarity of Mind is a good body of work from Omah Lay. And
Mm.
maybe we just need a couple more videos for us to get more attached to it. But I'm sure this is an album that we're going to go back to and say, yeah, that was a very good body of work. It might not be at the same level of Boy Alone because, that was a masterpiece. But in terms of the quality of work, I think it's also very impressive.
Mm.
So, let's sort of wrap it up in terms of today's session. I think today has been quite entertaining. We touched on a couple sports topic, transition to our media topic, covering Drake's Iceman and Omah Lay's Clarity of Mind. So
Mm.
just want to remind the subscribers, thanks for catching up with us. Thanks for taking the time to listen to JR&Skipps. We're not going to be here without you guys. So you guys make this worth the while. Please remember to hit the subscribe button and look forward to our other contents coming up on a weekly basis. Remember to follow us on social media platforms. JR, anything you want to say before we call it the day today?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in with us for another episode. Please share your opinions with us. Tell us what you think about our opinions on the sports section. How excited are you for Drake's Iceman? What do you think the importance of the album is going to be to hip hop? Is this Drake's most anticipated album? What are your thoughts on Omah Lay's album? And what do you think about what we have said? Like Skip said, thanks for joining us. Tune in, subscribe, follow us on social media platform, and peace out.